From a very early time of making these sculptures, people were always arriving to how they saw the work as very static, almost like a prop, because the integrity of its making is belied by its very raw material, whether that's wood and foam and things like this. Once they learned that these things are actually very hollow and quite light, I think it was starting to bring people to more of a object space that was more reminiscent to the stage than to sculpture. I like them being misrecognized, almost like camouflage, kind of seen through, just in the ways in which we're thinking again of projecting what self-identity is with what we have. Having and have not is like a very projected thing. Three Mahoganies is a title in which there were just these three shelves just stacked very so. They were all seemingly from this one cabinet, but that was the missing piece, was not finding their cabinet that they would match with. So these three mahoganies were actually just a long meditation of this jettison space that we're still in with these objects now in the real world. I truly think that I am like painting in the 3D. I'm sculpting and pushing liquid materials that dry and that can be sculpted. So there's like a very like alchemical palimpsest thing that I'm more describing than the volumetric palimpsests. They're very much erected, but they are very much also like smoothed down. They're very rasped and sanded, and that to me is why I always feel like, oh, having the rest of these objects around would be so amazing, because that's that kind of time scale I describe. So say for instance, young sprout being this very like fresh, very ripe, kind of green, sprouting from this like detritus bag of potato chips. Is me imagining potatoes growing from potato chips in a very like small way, almost like a budding sprout from this sculpture. You know, Brood of Vipers being a more biblical leaning title, but also kind of an ode to, I think, the forms, really more so in that cabinet. These kind of like gnarled roots that may or may not at one point had a sprouted kind of food on them or from them are really just contained in this box, and the natural innards or the natural world is breaking from or out of these kind of man-made objects. Not only is that a commentary on life cycle of objects and our life cycle with nature in itself, they're all kind of different odes and different meditations on how throughout history that's kind of been dealt with, man versus nature. What is human nature? What is more hive mind or societal kind of nature that we've orchestrated for ourselves? Like every day we adorn and make up ourselves on these tables and vanities, and in and when they leave our house and leave our home for something new, does a part of you travel with that thing? We're all kind of like collecting each other's memories when we get these secondhand things. Let's meditation on that as well. I think these three are definitely paired super well together because they're all in such different kind of modes. Also kind of in image-wise, very different time scales.